Alright, so I'll try it this way. This portion is where the tail cone bolts on. Here, here, one goes here, there, and then on the bottom there's only 5 bolts. There's not a 6th over there that matches this one. These pieces of tube are 1/8 inch wall, go through diagonally to hold the tail cone. Some of the substructure that holds some of the exterior body paneling is gone here. There was a tube that goes down and back in, connects here. It looks like the tubing wall on most of this looks like 3/32 for all this tubing. Let me grab the tape real quick. So it's like 3/4 inch OD for that bottom tube that runs across that way. That's at 15 3/4 wide at that point. If you go from the center of that bolt hole for the transmission, main rotor transmission, to the end of that taper, that looks like 24.5 inches, right to the end of the bevel. What else we got? Here's one. We'll go from the saddle to the top of that. Looks like 12 3/8. That's right to the tip of the bevel. You can see there's a taper there on the end of this one, I mean. The box for the tail cone looks like 8.5 inches across the top right there. And then these are all pretty rough, honestly, but this is the best way I could think of doing it. I couldn't figure out how to get it all down on blueprints. I don't really have the time. Vertically, that's 8.5, no, 8 5/8 from the outside of the bottom to the outside of the top. So it's a little bit rectangular off of that flange. The spacing outside to outside there is 3 inches. That's also the same 3/4 tube here, 3/4 tube there, here. This is a much smaller diameter. That looks like 1/2 inch OD for this little strut piece. This is right in between that. It's like a 5/8 piece right there. There's another nut cert on this, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. I can't think of what that's to. Center of that bolt flange hole on the left there. This lower support is 17 inches. You can see that 17 is right to the front side of the saddle, so it's not to the center of that cross tube. Let's see if I can get center bolt hole there, the center bolt hole here. That's about 7 inches. If you look at it straight off the oblique, center to center on the vertical bolt holes for the transmission. This is where the main rotor transmission sits, those 4 bolts. And the mast goes straight up in the air for the main rotor. Let's see if I can get one of this. That's more like, you know what? Let me see here. That's 6 3/4 center to center on that piece of tubing, but that's center of the bolt hole to center of the bolt hole. I'm not sure exactly what to give you there. It would take some doing to replicate. That's about only 6 inches. And I guess that makes sense, because if you look at, this is a level platform, and this is 6, here's 6.5, and there was 7. Yeah, even the way it's laid out, you can kind of tell it's the way it is. These actually go through the firewall, and this bolts right to the back of the firewall in the engine compartment. So this will be like the pilot's and co-pilot's backs facing towards this, tail rotor straight out the back. These center pieces right down to the middle, and then up to the center of that hole is about 6 3/4. I'm going to say these are mirrored, symmetrical. This piece we already measured, same here, there, all the way down. There are some supports here that got cut off as well. On this yellow piece, you can see that's also there. I can't think of what that might be. Aside from, they have some some rotor brake mounting right here. The shaft comes right out of the transmission, And then, yeah, that's what it is. There's a rotor brake you pull from the inside that grabs the transmission shaft and slows down the rotation. So that's what that's for. Not really structural, I would say. It's more of a mounting point. But I could be wrong. There might be another tab that attaches to that lower bulkhead. I'll go over tubing sizes again real quick just to make sure I covered them. That's 1/2 inch for this first one. These two are also 1/2 inch. That one there looks like one of the 5/8. This is 3/4. That one looks more like a 7/8. So this upper tube is 7/8, 3/4 here, and then, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. 7/8, 3/4, and this is a 5/8. Half, half, half. That's also, that one looks like 3/4 there. That's one of the 5/8. That's one of the 3/4 there. 3/4. 3/4 there. 3/4 there. 3/4 there. You can see the gusseting. It's more like a full, like a half piece of tube with a gusset welded in it as well. Yeah, so I just happened to be over here at Cornerstone. This is where we used to do the overhauls, and I saw these two. These are the upper frame assemblies that hold the main rotor transmission and the tail rotor drive shaft that goes straight through there. Tail rotor cone, the monocoque cone assembly, hooks up there and goes straight off the back. If I find any lower frames, I'll try and do the same thing for you. Alright, brother. Talk to you later.